On this week's show, the Peloton Strength Plus app is here, and there is a new private teams app feature.
Plus, Kristen McGee teases a potential part-time return. Peloton discusses raising hardware and subscription prices, and much, much more.
Welcome to episode 192 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I am Amanda Siegel, and I'm joined this week by not one, but two co-hosts. I have John Pruitt and Mr. Pelo Buddy himself, Chris Lewis. Hey, guys. How you doing?
Hey, now.
Hey, Amanda. Hey, John.
Everybody
How's it going?
good.
What's going on?
All right. What's going on? Pruitt, you have some explaining to do.
What, with me bailing on Mariana's class?
You have some explaining to do, my friend. I mean, you thought I was going to let you off the hook? You forget it. A challenge is a challenge. And you did not fulfill your challenge command.
I know. I was all worked out that day.
Is that your excuse?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I completely forgot about it, too. So.
Well, I did message you, DM'd you. I sent out red flags and doves and, you gotta get on top of it. And I gotta tell you, it was worth it.
It was a great first class in our permanent time slot.
It was an awesome class. Her music mix was phenomenal. I mean, it is no question that I hate that I have to save it for next week, but it will definitely be my pick of the week next week. What an awesome class. It was really, really great. So, John, if you have the time, definitely find time to do it.
And for anyone else, we're talking about Mariana's class that was on Thursday, September 5th at 7 p.m. It was our first class in our permanent time slot on the tread, which will now be weekly on Thursday nights.
With studio members?
Yes,
some
weeks. Parents.
Cool.
This week had her parents in there. So her mom and dad are in town from San Diego. And she had shared her, obviously her mom's this amazing marathon runner, having done 35 marathons. So she was in there. And her father said to her, I want to be in there too. I mean, I don't want to be left out. So it was pretty impressive having, both her parents, and really amazing to just see that. So huge shout out to Mariana. But this is not about Mariana. This was about you, Pruitt. This was about you and bailing on Chris and I. Because let me tell you, I had done a pretty heavy stack in the morning. I mean, I was spent by 7 o'clock, but I was not missing that. And we had a challenge. So I'm calling you out on it.
I know. I had done 2 rides. I'd done a ride with Jess Sims.
I know. Did you have a milestone? Did you have a milestone yesterday?
I had a milestone on Jess's run. It was 300.
You could have saved it for Mariana.
I know, but it wasn't Mariana's run, which just it fell off my radar.
And 7 o'clock is a tough time.
7 o'clock
for somebody that has kids.
Too. I definitely would have gotten a lot of side eye.
Somebody that has kids and dinner, and I mean, for Chris and I, it's a little easy. We walked the dog a little bit later or before. It was easy, but it was fun. It was really fun. So huge shout out to Chris for pushing my ass.
She got lots of Taylor Swift on that playlist.
She got your Taylor Swift on there. She played Florida. She spoke about being at the concert and Florence
and the machine.
And the machine coming out there, and was really cool. It was really cool. So it was nice. It was nice to have the studio back up and live classes again. I have to say, I had definitely been slacking pre this week. So I think from having folks back in there, hey, it was a nice feeling having the schedule back up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get started with the show, because there is quite a lot to share with you this week, we always like to remind you how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure you never miss an episode.
And of course, you can always listen to us on all podcast platforms if you're on the go and you want to just hear the audio. So just search Pelo Buddy TV and drop us a review. We do appreciate the feedback. So please keep those coming.
And of course, we are on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X. Just search Pelo Buddy and follow us so that you keep up to date with all of the latest news. But now let's get on with the show.
All right. Well, our top story this week is that Peloton has released the beta version of their new Peloton Strength Plus app. In previous weeks, we've been sharing that Peloton has been teasing this new app, which is a completely standalone, separate app dedicated for people who, work out in the gym or have traditional gym equipment. This week, Peloton actually announced it as a public beta program. So there's a brand new page that you can go for, and you can sign up for the beta program, and you can be one of the testers of it. Now, it is restricted to people who are in the US and those with an iPhone at this point. Down the road, it's not going to have those restrictions, but this is just how they're testing it. But the app is actually out in the wild, and we actually are trying it out right now. So we've had a chance to mess around with it. And if you have any questions about it that we don't cover in this show, send us a DM. Let us know what you want to hear about it. We'll be sharing a lot more details next week because we've just had, kind of a chance to get a first look at it. But there's two main things you can do in the app. You have an option to do traditional programs. There's 3 available right now. There's one with Andy Spear. There's one with Rad Lopez, and there's one with Asal Aryan, which is actually in English, but they're all 4-week programs, and they're, like programs you're used to in other modalities where they've got the classes for you. You just follow them and progress through the 4 weeks. The other thing they have is called a workout generator. And what you do with this is you actually tell it what gym equipment you have or have access to. You can say, I have barbells, I have strength machine, a cable machine, I have dumbbells. You can tell it how long you want to work out. Like I've got 15 minutes today or 45 minutes today. And you can say, I want to focus on lower body. It takes all of that and will actually generate a custom workout designed for you to do with the equipment you have and the time you have focused on the body part you want to work on. So they're trying to kind of make it easier for people who might not know how to design their own workouts. They're just kind of combining all that into a custom workout for you. So you might not want to progress through a full program, but you can create these workouts each day you're going to the gym and have those custom workouts made for you. So it's kind of a unique approach that they're doing. And it's they're not calling it AI, but they're probably going to at some point, but make this custom AI workout for you based on, your equipment and your goals for the day.
Yeah, sounds really cool. Very cool.
Did you get yourself an iPhone, Chris Lewis?
I've had one for a while now. I've got both. I've got an Android for testing things, but my primary these days is an iPhone. So I've only had a chance to click around for a little bit. I'll be trying some of the, the first real workouts over the next couple of days. But like I said, if there's questions that people have about it, let us know, and we can be sure to cover that we'll have an in-depth look kind of more at it in the coming week.
All right,
very cool.
Good stuff.
So we're thinking the content on there will be exclusive to the Strength Plus.
So probably like the programs, one thing they had is they actually have video demos of all the moves. So if you're not sure about any of the moves, there's a demo of the coach doing it in the gym. And another thing you can do in both the custom workout and in the program, let's just say you have an issue with your knee and you can't do a squat or whatever, you can actually go in there and say, replace this move. And it'll give you a list of 3 other moves that you can do to swap that move for something else. And the other big thing that's brand new for this is there's no music, like literally no music. So they actually recommend that you play your Spotify, you play your whatever, and you're basically bringing your own music to these workouts, which is a first for Peloton.
Wow.
Yeah, so a little bit different. They're clearly targeting a different audience than they are with their regular classes. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what the feedback is from this. And, they have, as we shared in previous weeks, they've not said whether there's an extra cost or not. The fact that they're not saying it's included, my gut tells me it's going to be an extra cost. We don't know how much that is, but that's just something we'll have to keep an eye out for, is kind of what the pricing ends up being for this down the road.
Yeah. Got to gauge the demand first.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. All right. Well, they've also launched a new Teams feature. within the app, allowing users to create private teams so they can set workout challenges, track progress on a weekly leaderboard with up to about 100 members. So this feature is available on both iOS and Android, but not on Peloton hardware. It lets members kind of form their teams and participate in challenges. The team leaderboard tracks weekly stats like total workout time, number of workouts, and active days. Teams are private and invite only, and users can join multiple teams. So once in a team, participants can join or create challenges, which can last up to 31 days and be customized based on goals like, as I said, workout frequency or distance. So what you're tending to find is that the kind of groups that each instructor has are creating these team challenges. But what you're also finding is that friends can just, invite a group of people that they work out often with and be able to, do it in a formal setting. So for example, like you, Chris, who's a big power zone person, someone that, perhaps has this power zone group, it would be ideal for somebody like that to be able to, work out together and have your set friends and not have just random people that are out there. So very cool. And yeah, we'll kind of see where it goes. I just hope, the one thing that I want to say about it is I just hope that it doesn't push members to overdo. I'm very concerned about that.
And that's some feedback I've been seeing on social media as well. And because the issue is, and the reason this is an issue is within teams, there's challenges, but even if you do not join a challenge and you just join the team, there's still that weekly leaderboard that shows the stats based on minutes, miles, and time. So even if you're not doing a challenge, there's still that leaderboard that you see within the teams of oh my God, this person's, it's Wednesday and they've already done 20 hours of working out this week. I want to try to keep up with that. So there is concern. And I've even seen some groups saying we're not going to use this feature right now because we're worried about it making our members overtrain and push themselves. So there's, I think, still some figuring out that people are trying to do with this new feature. It's been out, a couple days now, so it's clearly brand new. And Peloton may make changes to it based on feedback like that down the road. So I think we're just gonna have to keep an eye on that and kind of see which direction they go with it.
And what changes they make. Yeah, because that was my biggest concern.
Good point.
I like to be able to kind of do what I want to do and my time, but there is that competitive edge, and it's proven that the platform has that.
Yeah, I think
so
an easy option might be when you're creating a team, if there's just a toggle for disable weekly leaderboard. And then, don't show that unless your team's turned it on. And then people who want to have that element can join the challenges within the team. So I think that could be an easy, happy medium for kind of solving and letting the people who like it still have it. So
Right. Makes sense.
True.
Makes sense. Good. All right.
Well, in a candid conversation on the Love at First Science podcast, Kristin McGee expressed that while she is stepping back to focus on her family, her departure may not be a final goodbye from Peloton. Instead, she hinted at the possibility of returning as a guest instructor. She said there was just certain circumstances. I didn't want to have to make the decision to leave, but there were certain circumstances that just didn't really make it possible for me to stay in the city with my 3 boys and continue in the capacity that they were going to have me. So I just figured, now is the time to focus on family, take a break, and maybe, I'll be back guest teaching. So when addressing recent exits, Peloton had stated this past summer that our door will always be open to them. So this is not a final goodbye, but rather we hope to see them later. So this underscores Peloton's potential willingness to welcome back instructors who have previously departed and then returned, as is the case with German instructor Irene Keimer. Kristen went on to add some extra detail about what guest teaching could possibly look like, saying, "And I know Christian Van de Velde does these guest spots every a couple times a year. Maybe there's a way to still be a part of the community in some capacity, but I'm excited. So it would be great. I know a lot of folks are really kind of mourning, her departure. It's kind of left a big hole, in the schedule and in the meditation and yoga space.
Especially with her and Ross having gone.
Yeah.
Definitely. No question. Yeah.
Yeah, well, one note from last month's earning calls is that Peloton has, I don't want to say teased, but they discussed the possibility of raising prices. Investors were kind of, Peloton has shared that they're on a path to more profitability. And one of the things that Peloton has been talking about is how they're trying to improve their margins and basically make more money where they can. And one of the things they talked about was margins on the hardware products and margins on the subscription business. They did talk about how they will be analyzing the hardware business, and they're looking at optimizing the economics of the channel. They said this effort includes evaluating certain product pricing models, discounting strategy, and the way we deploy media dollars. And the key part is their certain product pricing models. In a call later on in the month, she clarified that a little bit more and went on to say it was certain products in certain markets. So it might be that, and again, they didn't say this part, but this could just be an example that maybe the US pricing isn't changed, but in places like Austria and Germany, where they're having to sell now entirely through third-party partners like Amazon, they might raise the prices a little bit more because Amazon is getting a cut of those sales. So maybe they raise the prices there so that the profit to Peloton,
the margin isn't as good,
is equivalent to what it might be in the US. She then went on to kind of talk about subscription pricing. One comment she mentioned in there is that the gross profit on their subscription area is around 68%. So there's a healthy margin there, but clearly that's an area that they could potentially look at improving as well. They did say that her quote was, "We do think it's a great value, and as we do deliver more value with some of these experiences, it's something we might consider in the future." And that was answering a question about subscription pricing. However, she then went on to say, it doesn't mean that we won't ever entertain a subscription price increase, but it's not something we're planning in the immediate future. So while they're analyzing and looking at it, like it's not in the immediate future, she then went on to say that that is a type of decision that would be made by the new CEO. So like they're not going to, raise the prices right before a new CEO comes in. So we at least have until a new CEO comes in, which they're saying is probably in the next 3 months before that's the sort of decision they would look at. And again, they're not saying they're definitely doing it, but it's just as they look at profitability of the company, that's one area they're at least analyzing.
Okay.
Gotcha. Well, when did we had our first price increase in subscriptions? It might have been a couple of years now.
It's about 2 years ago now. Yeah. When it went up from $40 to $44.
So it's been a while since then.
Yeah.
Well, Peloton has recently indicated they plan to decrease the amounts and frequency of their promotions. So it doesn't mean it's going to go away altogether, but we had recently shared that Peloton is holding a sale for Labor Day here in the American holiday, Labor Day. However, unlike previous promotions, only the tread was discounted. And the discount isn't as significant as previous ones in the past. But this latest sale is an example of some of the recent changes in Peloton's promotional strategy. So they had signaled a significant shift in their approach to pricing promotions, which could change the landscape of these discounts and offers going forward. So interim co-CEO Karen Boone had hinted at this at the company's Q4 2024 earnings call recently, stating that they plan to evaluate pricing strategies and quote unquote be a little less promotional, both in depth and frequency. And then CFO Liz Coddington echoed this sentiment, highlighting Peloton's focus on improving some of their gross margins that you just mentioned, Chris. She explained Peloton's evolving its promotional strategies to achieve some financial targets while reducing the emphasis on discounts. So not confirmed. We do anticipate we'll have some sort of sale for Black Friday and Cyber Monday, coming around the corner soon, as Peloton has done nearly every year in the past. But it remains to be seen if they're going to be as good, if the deals are going to be as good as they have been in the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, also what they're doing next up is that they are ending direct sales in Germany. They are transitioning to third-party sales through partners, as Chris had said, through partners like Amazon and FitShop. So starting in September of 2024, customers will be redirected to these partners for purchasing Peloton products. So that goes for the Bike Plus, the Tread. Peloton will no longer sell directly through its website or offer rental bikes or refurbished products in Germany. So this move mirrors the sales model Peloton adopted in Austria last year. Peloton has reassured members, though, that the German content, support, and live classes will continue. So nobody has to worry about that. The instructors aren't going anywhere, and the classes will still be offered. But they've obviously, at this point, probably perhaps saturated the market and feel that that being able to give it to a third party gives them a little bit more exposure. I mean, what are your feelings on it, Chris?
I think it's a combination. There's two different things. There is that exposure piece because Amazon clearly has a big reach there, but they were already in Amazon. So this isn't them going into it for the first time. It's just stepping back. I think the other thing is it costs less for them to do this. It might be a little less profitable for each unit, but there's less overhead. You're not having
not having to pay for all the logistics.
Right. So, it's might be a little less per dollar per sale unless they, until they increase the prices, but there's less risk for them this way.
Got it. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Well, speaking of another update from a previous show, we had shared that last month Peloton removed the original bike from their rental program, and they didn't really say why at the time. They just did it. They've now shared that the reason for that, and this is kind of what we speculated at the time, was that they don't have as much refurbished inventory at this time. And the original bike rental program was really only profitable with those refurbished bikes. If they have to use new bikes for that, the profit for that program kind of goes away. So they're getting less refurbished bike these days. So rather than do the rentals they're instead focusing on using those refurbished bikes for refurbished bike sales because those are more profitable for the company. They went on to say that they don't have that issue with the Bike Plus program. The margins are better for that one. So whether they have refurbished bikes they rent out or new refurbished bikes, it's still more profitable to do that. So that's why they kept the Bike Plus rental program in place, and they expect that to continue for the future. They were asked, do you think you will, turn rentals back on for the original bike? They said never say never, but we don't expect that to happen just based on the amount of refurbished inventory they have. And they kind of clarified that refurbished inventory comes mostly from the 30-day home trial program. You got a 30-day return policy when you first buy it, and that's kind of where they get it. And just based on trends, they don't think they'll get a huge uptick in refurbished original bikes. So expect it to for the foreseeable future to only be able to do the Bike Plus rental through the rental program.
I'd be curious to know what percentage of their current bike rentals are pluses and which are original bikes. If they have a higher, more people going for the lesser.
Yeah, they've never really broken it down at that level. Is something they've publicly disclosed that I'm aware of.
Yeah, I figured. Well, Peloton is experimenting with a new class format for bootcamp classes called Bootcamp 50/50. So this saw the first 50% of the workout on the device, in this case the bike, because the first one was a bike bootcamp, and the second half, half of the class, the other 50%, as the strength portion of the floor. So Tunde taught the first one on September 3rd. I did it live. And it was good. Originally, the 30-minute bike bootcamp classes, they usually have two transitions, at that 30-minute format. So you're getting off the bike and then getting back on, and then unclipping again, changing out your shoes for the strength portion, and then usually you'd end on the mat a lot of times. But the new 50/50 format kind of shakes it all up and reduces those transitions from 2 to 1. So Tunde's recent 50-50 boot camp, it started with 14 minutes of cycling, and then the remainder of the workout was 15 minutes of full body strength to close out the class. You finished on the floor. It's not known yet if Peloton is going to try the same format with the longer classes, the 45-minute and 60-minute classes. I kind of like having more transitions in the longer format because it kind of breaks up the monotony.
Definitely.
Of,
Makes sense.
being on the tread for a long amount of time or being on the bike and vice versa with the mat. And it's not clear if we're going to have that on the tread as well, or if it's just going to be a bike boot camp format. I also thought about this.
They are having a row boot camp, so we do know they're going to have a row boot camp coming up. Katie has one on the schedule for a 30-minute 50-50. So, they've got bikes, they're doing row. You'd think they would do tread based on that, but there's just not one on the schedule yet. And I will say,
I'm curious.
Go ahead, John.
No, I'm just curious. It made me think that if just with one transition for bike boot camp, if they would potentially consider having members in the studio for that class, because since its inception, we've had no members for bike boot camp classes because obviously you got to change shoes out. There's more involved with that, whereas opposed to the tread or the row.
Seems like they're trying to simplify things in the studio. So there'd be
too much. Yeah. There's a ton of bikes in there, so it'd be not a lot of space around.
They'd have to remove some bikes in there because they have to do that with a tread. They have to remove one or two of the treads to do that. So that you imagine they'd have to do that with the bikes as well. So I could be wrong, but it just doesn't. I'd still think we're not going to see that in the near future.
Yeah, it was just wishful thinking.
Yeah, and they're one thing to clarify that they haven't put any of these on the tread yet. They weren't called this back in the day, but a couple of years ago, they actually used to have some tread boot camps of this format where it was all running and all strength. So they have done this in the past for the tread at least, but it wasn't called 50-50, and it's been several years since they've done it. So that's why it's kind of a new format, quote unquote, in quotes.
New label. Yeah.
Got it. All right. Well, this is kind of exciting. Peloton will hold its first ever live 2-hour run, and it's with Becs Gentry. So it's going to be on October the 4th at 6 a.m. Eastern time. So for those, and Chris, you'll probably know this, and I should have known this in reporting this, but will there actually be members in the studio?
There will be. Nope, there are members at 6 a.m. doing 2 hours.
So that is wild.
That is getting your money's worth on the studio experience.
A, that's getting your money's worth. B, that's being very very courageous, I think. So it will be the first 120-minute run, as I said, available, which will then feature in the on-demand library. Previously, the longest tread class was 90 minutes. There are only 2 on the platform, one with Susie Chan, which was back in September of 2023, with no members in the studio. And then the other one was actually with Mariana Fernandez from May, which did have members in the studio. There are also, as you know, a handful of 75-minute sessions. But this new...
Just to clarify, there is one other 2-hour run on the platform. It is just an outdoor run with Susie and Matt. So that's why this is the first one available in the general on-demand library and the first on the tread, because that was an outdoor run with Susie and Matt that's part of the half marathon program.
Correct. Yeah. So this new, as I said, live run will be a significant addition to Peloton's long form content. And it does align with other extended workout options like Matt Wolper's 120-minute Power Zone endurance ride. Peloton, as Chris just said, he was jumping the gun there, had previously offered that 120-minute outdoor run as part of its half marathon training. But this class was not part of the traditional, on-demand library. Becs' upcoming class will bring more long-form content for Peloton tread users. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's great, especially as marathon season is starting back up. And,
And
it'll be a great way for folks to use it as a training mechanism.
And Bex is training herself for her 7 marathons in 7 days and
course.
7 continents in November. And when she made that announcement, she shared that, when I'm training for something, you're training for something. So she's kind of bringing those members along as she trains for her epic adventure she has coming up.
Very cool. Very cool.
But will there be a banana break halfway through, like with Matt Wilper's 2-hour classes?
Or gels.
It'd be tough to eat a banana on a tread.
Or maybe everyone will get a gel in their cup holder.
A little pouch to
because
suck on.
that's 120 minutes. I mean, I know that in a 60-minute class, my water bottle is done. So it's going to be challenging, I guess. I wonder how they're going to, be a little bit more flexible with people on the treads, because they're quite strict about what you can kind of put in the cup holders and, if you're live in studio. So just
I mean, I used to bring
out
candy and Haribo gummy bears, and they snatched those in London. They're like, no sweets in the studio. Get some sugar. Yeah. Well, a class that's coming up, a Music of Marvel. There's several modalities on the schedule currently for a special Music of Marvel class, which will obviously feature the music from the Marvel universe of movies. But first up, Sam Yo is teaching a 30-minute ride on Monday afternoon, September 16th, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Logan Aldridge is also teaching one, a 30-minute run the following day on September 17th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And Robin currently has a 20-minute arms and shoulders strength class on Thursday, September 19th. We haven't seen, at the time of recording, we haven't seen them promote it yet. It's a little kind of early. Usually they do it, that week or a couple days before. So hopefully we'll get some more detail, obviously, in the coming week or so.
Now, do you think they were able to call Madonna as well and get permission for Like a Prayer in this series? Like, did Ryan Reynolds make that call for them like they did in Deadpool?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of like the music for Marvel movies, and is it going to be a mix of the score, from some of the composers, or is it strictly just different songs that are featured throughout different Marvel movies? Kind of how, because Sam seems more of like a soundtrack score person. Like he loves, to use composers, Hans Zimmer and the various ones from those types of movies. So John Williams.
Yeah, maybe it'll be a mix, and they each will put their own, kind of flair on the direction they take that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, changing gears a little bit, there is a brand new training program available through the program section. Peloton has released a German language version of the Build Your Power Zones program. This is a 5-week training program led by Charlotte and Eric to help members on their Power Zone journey. There are 3 classes per week. And again, it's a 5-week program. You can find it in the program section of the Peloton app or your bike. This is a German language program. So Peloton over the years has released 3 different Power Zone programs. There's a Build Your Power Zones. It starts with Discover Your Power Zones, then it goes to Build Your Power Zones, and then it goes to Peak Your Power Zones. They have English versions of all 3 of those. Last year sometime they had the German language Discover Your Power Zone, which is kind of the beginner one. And this one is the intermediate Build Your Power Zones. They don't have the Peak Your Power Zones in German yet, but you have to guess down the road they'll release that as well. Yeah. But if you want a German language Build Your Power Zone, that's now available, and you can take that with Charlotte and Eric.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, Peloton's This Week at Peloton lineup of classes for this past week were as follows. Ali Love had 2 Tropical House classes. She had a 30-minute Tropical House bar on Tuesday, September the 3rd at 9:30 a.m. and a 20-minute Tropical House ride on Thursday, September the 5th at 6:30 a.m. Christian Vandervelder had a 15-minute cool down ride, which dropped on demand this past Friday, September the 6th. This is a rare addition, as there are currently only 2 other 15-minute cool down rides, which are both in German. So if you are looking for a longer cool down ride, maybe after your 120-minute power zone ride with Matt, and you just need an extra 15 minutes, you now have Kristin offering you one of those. Mariana Fernandez had a 30-minute live upper body yoga conditioning, which was in fact today, Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Yoga conditioning combines light weights and repetitive movements for strength training. So this was, I believe, the first live with members that was available. And then lastly, Olivia Amato had a double core strength class with back-to-back live 10-minute core classes, also today, also this Sunday, one at 10 a.m. and then at 10:25 a.m. So that was this past week's, this week at Peloton.
Cool. And we also have a few new pieces in the Cadent apparel collection. So some new fall color palette added there for the fall dreams has landed. So there's lots of pieces and just a lot of different sort of darker fall colors that you might imagine.
I love it.
Very PSL. There's one color called butterscotch. That's like almost a light sort of pumpkin colored yellowish tone.
Yeah. I have to say, I think that the marketing and the advertising has really improved. The way that these ads pop up, certainly on my Instagram.
Yeah, and the Shop Now link.
Yeah. They really are good. They're very good. And I have to say, and they keep popping up. I do want to wait until they go on sale, but I really, really like this new I've actually decided that I like the plainer, more simpler workout stuff, and this new color palette. And I like that you can kind of mix and match, which is also cool, which before you kind of really weren't able to do that. So
not as much in your face branding too. I feel like the logo is
just
toned
with a
down.
little logo on the side as opposed to like Peloton. I don't mind the Peloton across my chest, but I really, really like this new fall Cadent line that they and I like the pockets on the side. So it's kind of got everything that I want. And maybe we'll splurge and get one or two, but they're nice. They're really nice.
Yeah. Nice. Well, Peloton had some scheduled maintenance this week. On Wednesday, they announced that sometime during the day, they shared that evening they were going to have a maintenance window from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern. They shared that we take every effort to ensure a seamless experience for our members, but you may experience service interruptions during this time. Right after 8 p.m., they did start that maintenance window, and unfortunately, there were some outages as that happened. Members were unable to take some classes. The website was being glitchy. Thankfully, the window did not take that full 3 hours. I think around 8:45 p.m., they posted that the maintenance was done. Right after that, everything came back up. I know some members were super disappointed about this because it didn't take place, over the last 2 weeks when there was no live classes anyway. This was on a Wednesday with no live classes. And the other thing that I saw, 8 p.m. is 5 p.m. on the West Coast when a lot of members are trying to get their evening workouts in. So, there was some questions about the timing on that. But thankfully, rather than being the full 3 hours, it ended up being 45 minutes. But if you experienced some glitches on Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, that was the reason for it.
All right.
Cool. And a big happy birthday to Mila Lazar, who's celebrating this Wednesday. Coming Wednesday. No, it wasn't this past Wednesday.
This past Wednesday.
It was already her birthday. So happy belated birthday to Mila.
Yes, happy birthday. All right. Well, we will kick right off with Instructor in the news. And I will go ahead and share our first story, which seems that Olivia Amada may have been busy over the summer. She shared on Instagram that she's been working on some new things behind the scenes and is looking forward to sharing them with all of us. She said in her Instagram post that members should get ready for exciting classes, new challenges, and so much more. So they love to tease things before they end up releasing them. So this is just another tease.
Please don't be a newsletter or book. I don't need that.
Let's wait.
Newsletters, that seems to be the hot
That's
the
the hot
hot
thing right now.
announcement lately,
Yes.
or Substack. Well, tons of coaches. If you're currently watching the U.S. Open tennis tournament that takes place every year in the summer in Flushing Meadows, Queens, New York, lots of coaches have been going to it recently. Dennis was recently there. Matt Wilpers. I think Matt Wilpers went as Alex Karwoski's date. I think Alex treated Matt to the Open, or maybe it was the other way around.
The other way around.
But they went together.
Alex.
Yeah, and Jen Sherman was also there. And then Allie was featured in an article from Town and Country that kind of highlights all the recent celeb sightings there. So a lot of them are just pictured sitting in their seats. John Mayer went with his niece and was being all cute with his niece. And they, I guess they have sort of like a press line, sort of like almost a red carpet area where they take, the photos with the U.S. Open backdrop or some sort of nice, background. And Allie was featured in the Town and Country article. She was mentioned in this very nice looking flowing yellow dress. But yeah, they've all been getting out and about at the tennis tournament.
Open. Nice.
And I think it wraps up this weekend.
Yeah, I think it does. All right. Well, Hannah Corbin has also been very busy. She has shared on Instagram that she has a new website where folks can shop for some cute articles that she has dropped. Hannah said in an Instagram post that the idea had started years ago, but that it took some time for it to become a reality. In the shop that she's launched called, it's launched online, and the website is called hannah-corbin.com. So make sure you put that dash in there. She has a cropped white sweatshirt, a coffee mug, a black baseball cap that all say fabulous on it. And then she has a white unisex t-shirt with a small yellow smiley face in the left-hand corner. So I did go on and kind of take a look, and it looks like she's really developing this website with not only this merchandise, but also a newsletter, her workouts, etc.
We had shared a couple of weeks ago that she had launched the website because there's a section on there that will be dedicated to her upcoming book. There's no information on there about it yet, but she's kind of got a placeholder for Did You Stretch Though? Which is the title of the book. So once she's ready to more publicly announce that, I'm sure she'll update that section with the book. But she's slowly been over the last couple of weeks and months building this out, and now has, the apparel launch with it.
All right.
Nice. Well, Marcel Dinkins contributed to an article in Runner's World, which was called How to Enjoy Treadmill Training. And Marcel kind of talked about a couple different things in there. One was sharing the benefits of a slow warm-up and just how you want to ease yourself into a workout before going all out. She also talked about how treadmill training can translate well to outdoor running, since and a lot of times you have a lot less stress on the body, which prevents injuries. But she also talks about how you want to balance it with outdoor runs, because outdoors you're going to have hills and, all sorts of conditions you want to get used to. She then went on to say that like many other running coaches, they recommend putting the treadmill incline to either 0.5 or 1%, which, one, mimics some of those rolling hills, and two, offsets the fact that there's no wind resistance when you're running inside that you might have outside. So you can find that article in the show notes, but that's a Runner's World article that Marcel Dinkins contributed to.
Yeah, so they definitely have been very busy. So next up, Kira Michelle had her Bryant Park yoga event on Wednesday the 4th with a phenomenal turnout. We had spoken about the fact that some of the yoga instructors had been invited to the Bryant Park summer solstice stuff that they were doing in the park. Mariana had done hers, and Kira just had hers this past Wednesday. So there were certainly members that had gone out, and she seemed pretty excited about having the opportunity to do yoga with such a large audience, which was amazing. And then Susie Chan had her Hoka event this past week in London, in Covent Garden. She did a run with folks that had signed up, as well as a panel. And she had her fun friend that she has on her Instagram all the time, Pickle John, is his Instagram name. I can't remember his
Pickle John?
real Pickled John, who's a big runner and runs with Susie a lot. So they were on the panel together, and there were tons of members that had gone out for that as well. So that was kind of fun to see. And then last but not least, it looks like this website building seems to be the new thing for the instructors, because Ben Oldis has an official website, benoldis.com, and he is offering up his talents to do speaking engagements. He had posted on his Instagram just this past week that if folks are looking for someone to do a keynote or join a panel for a corporate wellness day, he's your guy. He said that he's done everything from covering topics including health optimization, corporate wellness, mental health, the evolution of wellness industry, career transitions, high performance mindset, and motivation, working through cancer diagnosis and the importance of prevention, and also the value in community and teamwork in business. So he has his webpage up, and if folks are interested in hiring him, he is available to do a panel or even a keynote speech, which I think is pretty cool. He also has health and wellness tips on his website. He has brand collaborations, business advisory, and then, of course, a huge plug for his book, Raise the Bar. So, so just thought we'd kind of share that with you.
I'd hire him to DJ my tailgate party at the Michigan game.
Right? I mean,
you should throw out the DJ option too.
He didn't add DJing.
He gets some more sales from that, I think.
He didn't add DJing in there. All right. Well, that wraps up our Instructor in the News for this week. We will go right into class picks. And why don't you kick it off, John?
All right. Well, first up on the row, Matt Wilper's 20-minute 2010s row from August 27th. All Biz Liz said good structure and good to have some live classes after the maintenance. Logan Aldridge's 20-minute seated adaptive HIIT cardio from August 29th. Jason K2 said these adaptive classes are so great to have on the Peloton platform. Karen Michelle's 10-minute calming meditation from August 30th. Amajar 3 said her new 7 days to a calmer you program is just bliss. I've slept so great after these meditations.
Yeah, I have to say I joined the challenge and completed the meditations, and she really put a lot of effort into that 7-day program. I really, really enjoyed it. So huge shout out to Kira for putting that together. All right, moving on to the bike, we have Hannah Corbin. She had a 30-minute intervals ride on the 30th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. This one came to us, and I am going to need to put my glasses on. It came to us from a Zonian?
AZ Onion?
AZ Onion? Okay, AZ Onion. All right, Arizona Onion, AZ Onion. They said good, solid ride from Hannah. Then Bradley Rose had a 15-minute low-impact ride. This was on the 31st at 8 a.m. It came to us from our good friend Daisy Mack. She said playlist was 70s music, and it was nothing short of perfection. And then Hannah Frankson had a 30-minute 2000s run, also from the 31st at 9 a.m. This one came to us from Dippin' Dot 22 and Superman Sam 86. They said great throwback playlist.
All right, Benny Adami's 20-minute beginner ride in German from August 31st. Armajar 3 said just a fun ride. That would be very encouraging for any new rider. And then Jess Sims, 45-minute full body strength from September 1st. Jenny Penny 103 said workout moved along nicely and some good moves programmed. And Sam Yost, 30-minute intervals and arms ride from September 2nd. Spin-loving mama said fun playlist and excellent coaching by Sam, as always.
Awesome. And then Camilla Roman, she had a 30-minute hike from September the 3rd at 9 a.m. This one came to us from Mexicali Girl. And she said she took us to Everest in this hike. It was challenging plus great rock playlist. Allie loves 30-minute tropical house bar that we spoke about earlier. This one was on the 3rd of September at 9:30 a.m. And it came to us from Christina M. Romano, Love Squad Peloton, and Amajar 3. They said great flow of music, such a vibe, great way to cap off the summer. And then Becs Gentry had a 30-minute endurance run, also from the 3rd at noon Eastern time. It came to us from Patrick 707, and they said solid run plan and some good storytelling from Becs.
All right, next up, going to the Bike Bootcamp, Tunde Oyenen's 30-minute 50-50 Bike Bootcamp from September 3rd. Just Dance Lisa said, loved this format where you only had one transition. Rebecca Kennedy's 20-minute low-impact cardio from September 3rd. Just Dance Lisa said, Rebecca's low-impact cardio classes are always great. This was no exception. And then Susie Chan's 30-minute classic rock run from September 3rd. Tracy C. said, another amazing run with Susie and a great playlist. The late time isn't great for the UK, but can never miss a Susie Chan run.
Awesome. And then rounding up this week's picks of the week, Cody Rigsby's 30-minute 2000s ride, also from the 3rd. This one came to us from Samantha Dewar and Arlinga Debbie. Fun playlist and class from Cody. Rad Lopez gave us a 10-minute glutes and leg strength, also from the 3rd, 6 p.m. Eastern. This one came to us from Julie MJ, and they said great programming, and this is great for runners. And then ending off, we have Olivia Amado's 45-minute outdoor audio walk plus run. This one dropped on the 4th at noon. It's an on-demand, so it landed at midnight. It came to us from Cajun Kate, and they said great short intervals from Olivia. I really like this week's picks of the week. I think
good mix.
It's really a great mix. It gave us some folks we don't often get on the picks of the week. So really, really awesome. Please, please, please don't stop giving us your picks of the week. We love sharing them.
And again, just as a reminder, we take submissions for those on Wednesdays, Instagram stories sometimes on Wednesday, or you can just send us an email or use the contact form on the Pelo Buddy website. But sometime Wednesday evening on East Coast time is the best time to get those in, so we can make sure to combine them and get the list made for the show.
Yeah, and that's, I guess, to clarify, and that's why you kind of have the classes from Thursday through to the following Wednesday, and anything, so even though the show airs on a Sunday and you're missing those weekend classes, Thursday through weekend, those will happen the following week. So, yeah. All right, guys. Well, I think we actually did quite a good job of wrapping this up pretty early and getting this all in. Nice to have all of us here. Chris, we never even spoke to you about your whirlwind trip to London.
I was lucky enough to go to London last weekend, and I took a bunch. I was there for about 50 hours and got a couple classes in. I was able to ride with Sam, Bradley, Hannah, and Ben. All great classes, great to meet the members. And, we've talked about it before, and it's the same in New York, but the staff at the studio, all just so nice and helpful, incredible. So it's always, again, we've said it about New York, we've said it about London.
Did you see Anthony
this time?
See Anthony in the production room?
I didn't peek into the production room, so...
But I'm so glad that you got the opportunity to do that. And fun. Anybody you hadn't worked out with before? Were these all firsts for you live?
The only in-person I had taken before was with Bradley. So Sam,
Okay.
Hannah, and Ben were all the first time to take actual classes with in person
Oh, that's
before.
awesome, Chris. Awesome. Yeah. Isn't Sam just a doll when you chat to him? Spends
He
so
is.
much time with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Oh, that's
Does
so
London
fun.
now? Does London? Do you get cards, or is it just lining up?
There are no, you get a card for your first time, but if you're not
Okay.
a first timer, then there's no cards. It's
right.
it's a lot more relaxed and low key going into the class experience than it is in New York. It's just just a little bit more low key than it is at PSNY.
Way chiller vibe in London.
Yeah.
Good. And I saw you got to see Starlight. What else did you get to?
I also
Was that
saw
fun?
Les Mis and I saw Hadestown.
Oh,
Les Mis.
fabulous.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, good. I'm so glad that you got the opportunity to do that. How fun.
Yeah, and if anyone is going to be at PSNY for the Lulu members weekend this upcoming weekend, let us know because I will end up being there for that. I'll end up being in New York for Lulu members weekend, so let us know if anyone's going to be there and we can try to say hello.
That sounds awesome. Yeah, I will not be there. I'm very disappointed. I have Parents' Weekend in Miami, so I will be tailgating and having fun with my senior at the University of Miami next weekend. But that should be tons of fun, Chris. I forget, you were at the last one, In and Out, right? The last Lululemon.
It's funny. This is the second Lulu members weekend, and this is the second time I had a trip to New York scheduled for something else that was just corresponding with a few days there ahead of time, and it happened to be the Lulu weekend.
Nice.
So yeah, it was a good experience. You know, Lululemon comes in and they put a whole lot of extra branding. They have some extra touches on the studio. You know, you obviously get some extra Lululemon plugs during the classes because it's the Lulu weekend. But you know, it's kind of like when they've had a Chase weekend there, All for One. They just put some extra special touches and kind of go all out. And there's a lot more staff running around, more from Peloton. You've got Lululemon staff running around too. So it's just, you know, a lot more going on that weekend.
Yeah. I love my Lululemon water bottle that I got in every single class and distributed them to my family. So yeah, let us know what you pick up.
Yeah, but what are the chances? This, like I said, this is the second time. I had months ago planned a trip to New York, and it just so happened to be the second time the Lululemon weekend corresponded. So thankfully, I was lucky enough to get invites both times, so I'm getting to go. So
awesome. What classes do you have scheduled?
I am doing a row with Katie, a run with Matt, a ride with Christine, I'm doing the group run outdoors with Eric, and that might be it.
All right. Awesome. Good stuff. Yeah, I guess 4.
Not bad.
I guess you, don't know if the group run counts as one of your.
The group
4.
run doesn't count
right.
because that is one of these special experiences. And
Nice.
those are they cost a little bit extra, but those are actually transferable if you can't go. You can't cancel them, but
you can give them.
you can transfer them to somebody else. So they, you know, a little bit different than the classes. You didn't book those through the normal class website, so that's why they work a little bit different. Oh, the other one I am doing Maddie's walk and talk, so that'll be great on Friday morning.
Friday morning.
Do his walk and talk next week.
Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. All right. Good stuff. Yeah. I'll be walking and talking before I get on a plane to head down to Miami. So that'll be fun. All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap for us. As always like to thank you for tuning in, whether it's listening to us on the move or whether it's taking the time to watch us on YouTube. Thank you so much. We love being able to bring this to you each week and sharing kind of what's happened in the Peloton world. And appreciate you taking the time to listen. So for me, thanks as always. And bye for now, everybody.
And from me here in Atlanta, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see everyone next time.
And from me here in Michigan, appreciate you tuning in, listening and watching. And as always, we will see you on the leaderboard. Bye for now.